Bob Ross, Cat Stevens, Jerry Garcia combined. That's how I would describe Cliff, the founder of Pine River Summer Camp. The only way to access Pine River was by way of Cliff's speedboat because it's located on Nebish Island in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. There I learned the meaning of rustic. We had no restaurants, no electricity, no showers. We just used the lake. In fact, the tradition for first-time campers was to take a swamp walk where we trekked neck deep in beaver scat and mud. But more prized than the opportunity to do the swamp walk was to do a vision quest. To do the vision quest, you had to be 12. And the summer I turned 12, my parents signed a hefty waiver, I'm sure, and granted permission. Vision Quest is 3 days, 2 nights of solitude, fasting, complete isolation. And from Pine River, we canoed from Nebish Island and ventured out into the waterways of the Great Lakes. And I got to pick my own island for my vision quest. From the canoe was a few campers and 2 counselors, and we were paddling, and I could feel the cool Canadian breeze. And I saw sprinkled throughout the water these tiny little islands filled with tall green grass and gigantic white birch trees. And we started dropping kids off one at a time as they were calling dibs on an island. I finally saw the one that I knew was mine. And we pulled ashore, and I got out of the canoe, and I watched the remaining campers and counselors paddle away. I stood there with a sleeping bag, a roll of toilet paper, a journal and a pencil, and 3 gallons of water. I decided, first things first, I'm gonna explore my land. I found that my island was more or less circular in shape. I guessed, I didn't have a watch, but I guessed it was like 30 minutes that it took me to walk the circumference. I realized I had a lot of time. So I ventured into the middle of the island, where amongst the green grass, I saw little specks of blue. Now, we had been told many times, do not eat anything. But I couldn't resist when I saw that Mother Nature had custom made some fresh blueberry bushes for me. So I did taste test a few blueberries, and they were sweet and nourishing. I moved on to explore the other side of the island where there was a sandy shore, and there was a tangle of driftwood, but I was able to get myself through it so I could wade a little bit into the water. It was the middle of the summer. The water was freezing, but it was crystal clear, and I could see the rocks through it. I was 12 years old, and I did have a plan. I looked around to really make sure I was totally alone, and I was going to get buck naked in nature. I had stolen my big sister's sexy thong underwear, though, just in case I needed a little protection. And I did chicken out in the way that a self-conscious 12-year-old might in the situation, as if the skinny string of fabric was any protection. But I stood there in the thongs. I was more vulnerable than I'd ever been. And I have 2 sisters, so even this level of solitude was a first time for me, let alone standing exposed. I quickly looked around and thought to myself, I'm going to remember this for the rest of my life. And then I put my clothes back on. I realized it's gonna get dark soon. I gotta figure out where I'm gonna sleep. I noticed that part of the land went down like a little bit of a cliff and into a ditch, and I thought, it's perfect. It will protect me from the wind. So I started dragging some of the logs of driftwood and creating a lean-to. I made a cozy roof It was warm, and I nestled into my sleeping bag, proud of myself for my clever skills in finding this space of safety. And darkness came, and with it, rain. A lot of rain, a torrential downpour of rain. And my safe little nook revealed to me that it was, in fact, a drainage for all of the water on the island seemed to pool and then drain into the lake. And in that pool of water was me and my sleeping bag. I made my way to higher ground. I realized no sleeping was going to happen. And it was dark. I was scared. I heard only the sound of the rain pounding on the rock. And I found myself hugging my knees into my chest, giving myself a hug. And I heard the sound of my voice singing to me. I sang a song by School of Fish, early 90s band, a song called Euphoria. And I waited. Morning came, but the sun never really rose. It just became a little less dark. And the rain persisted. And I thought, I'm going to never be dry again. Eventually, I looked in the distance and I saw the counselors coming. They said, "We're going to rescue you. It's just too dangerous with the weather and hypothermia, and come and get into the canoe, and we'll take you away." And it was less than 24 hours, about 20 hours, that the vision quest was abbreviated, but that was plenty. In that time, I found a home within myself. I realized that the hardship of the darkness and the rain and the cold was the pathway to me finding comfort within myself and the hospitality in my own heart. And I'll never forget it. And I need the wisdom of that 12-year-old experience today. I'm going through really hard heartbreak, and it's hard to be alone. And then I think, if I could do that at 12 years old, I think I got this.